Welcome to Movie Talkies, Leena and Radhika. I saw the trailer, it's very hard hitting. And right from the protagonist to you, Leena, everybody is a female. So, can I say that this is a film for women, of women, and by women?
It's a film for men, women, and everybody except children. Uh, we have a lot of strong women protagonists in the film. We also have some very, very powerful male performances in the film. And it's a film about life and humanity more than, anything else. And it has not three, but I think five really powerful women characters.
And your thoughts, Radhika?
Same as hers. Nothing
Yeah.
more to add.
So, your previous films have been very commercial. What inspired you to make a film like Parched?
I don't know what is the definition of commercial because they were commercial as in they had a big star cast in it, but they were not necessarily commercial in the way they were received. So I don't know about these labels, and Parched was just a film that needed to be very true to what it is, and I needed a set of really committed actors who for me are huge stars. So I don't know what this definition of commercial or non-commercial is. I know that this is a really honest and beautiful film.
And what made you agree to do this movie?
I think the stories of these women are very inspiring, and there's a huge relatability. You can relate to them. You can see yourself in every character, and I really like her vision. I really find that remarkable. So it was such a enriching project that I was very happy to be a part of it.
So you are saying that you were able to relate to the characters, but you are a modern Indian woman, and these are women living in the rural areas. How do you relate to them?
We relate to people with emotions. We all feel the same. A person sitting in China or the person sitting in Canada feels pain the same way that I feel pain. So you relate to everybody, and their problems are essentially fundamentally the same. Everybody wants happiness and they suffer, and then they don't like suffering, and they're all looking for freedom.
How did you prepare for your role?
Preparing for the role, I mean, let's start from the outside of it. We had a really beautiful costume designer, Ashima, and Clover and Preeti, who were doing the whole look, hair and makeup and everything. They made us look very authentic. Then we had a coach, dialect coach, Nayan Ranaji, who was with us throughout the shoot and also before the shoot. And then, of course, she was the writer, director. She did a lot of workshops with us, where we did a lot of backstory, we did a lot of bonding and relationships and memory banks and so many things. We had Ashley Lobo, who was a choreographer who works from within. So he really worked on our body language, movements. So all this really.
So how did the germ of this idea come to you, and what kind of research did you do for this movie?
Parched is not a research-based project. It's about life. So it's from observation. It's a lot of truth from within myself also. So I had lots of conversations with women, found lots of connecting points. Like you said, a story in the village, and we are urban women. But when I had these conversations, I said nothing is very different in the lives that I live and I see in Bombay. And similarly, people across the world have said that these stories are their stories, like in Canada and Sweden, everywhere. So I wouldn't call it research. I think as a filmmaker, stories anyway come from your own observations of things around you or things that get your attention. So Parched is one of those films that came from a need to have certain conversations.
So this intimate scene between Adil and Radhika got leaked. Now it takes away a lot from the movie because the focus becomes, oh, there's an intimate scene. It just gets leaked out of context, and people see it out of context. How do you see this?
You just answered that question.
I did,
That
but
people
then I
are
would.
seeing it out of context.
Correct.
That is my answer too, and I really have no reaction to that. I don't give it importance, and neither do any of us. So it's a vicious circle, that you create a leak, then you get everybody to talk about it. Then somebody says, actually, they only leaked it because they wanted publicity. So I don't want to feed this whole system that feeds off itself, and I have no comments on it.
Radhika, same. But then what was your reaction when, it got leaked and you came to know
I
about it?
genuinely don't have a reaction. I don't care a shit. I care about the film. I don't care about what people think. It's really, I pity them who don't respect their own bodies and love their own bodies. I don't think it's such an important issue to spend so much energy talking about it. You know, the film is more important, and I mean, I just don't see a point.
Times are changing, and incidents like these, people leaking a certain footage. Do you think that India is still a sexually frustrated country?
Not only India, we have sexual repression all over the world. So we need to have conversations about sex. Sex, everybody has sex. You have sex, I have sex, she has sex, he has sex, he has sex. So let's just talk about it and get over the hoo-ha, how about it. We eat food, we sleep, we all have sex. We are animals. So,
That's a natural thing.
absolutely.
I think it's true, and we all do that. But animals have sex. I mean,
Yeah.
what you said is absolutely true. But I'm
Yeah.
just giving it another thing.
Yes.
And we are the only species who's lucky to have the thing called desire. No other species has
Absolutely.
that. And we are the ones who can imagine and feel what we want to feel, and do it and desire it and explore it and express love through sex. Animals don't do that. And why can't we take it and use it for happiness?
Yeah, why are we suppressing it all the
Why
time?
do we suppress it? We are the only species with the gift.
Correct. You have a lot of acting powerhouses working together in this film, and also Academy Award winning technicians. So is it difficult to work with people who are so talented, or they make your work easier?
I think the more you accomplish and the more you know your craft, it makes you much more humble. So actually, this was the easiest crew that I've ever worked with.
And Radhika, how was it working with Surveen and Tanishta?
I think they're such pure human beings, and so intelligent, so warm, generous, and such good actresses. It's always good to work with people like that. It makes you perform better.
Okay, so the rural women, they go through a lot of atrocities, they suffer a lot. But urban women too are going through their own challenges. Did you suffer anything, during your growing years? Did you go through anything which scarred you for life, or something, any incident which you would want to share with our viewers?
I don't think it was one incident, it was a combination of many things. I was really fortunate to be brought up by my parents as an individual. Actually, that knowledge that, oh, I'm a girl came to me much later, and that came to me more from society. So I think I was so equipped to even face that or challenge that in my own way. But yeah, I mean, none of us can deny knowing incidents of violence, not just in rural. Rural, it happens probably more openly. Sad part is, what we call progress is we've started cleaning up the surface. Now it's all happening inside. Similarly, in the much more progressive societies that we look up to, like say America for example, America has the highest rate of domestic violence, but it's just so hidden. So it's not their problem or our problem, it's everybody's problem, it's a humanity problem.
And Radhika?
I think, I don't know if anything scarred me for life, but every experience changes you and shapes you in different ways. And so I think there are many experiences which have been painful, but you learn from them. And I think we should accept pain as much as we accept happiness. It's an emotion.
How did you deal with it?
How did I deal with what?
With all
With
these
these
incidents,
incidents that
cat
you-
calls, and these are things women experience in their day-to-day life.
But how do you deal with it? I deal with it in the same way. That's the thing. I mean,
You
deal
either
with-
build up a defense mechanism.
Yeah, you deal with different things. One day you're broke, one day you get wet in the rain and you have fever, or one day you get abused by your boss. Whatever it is, it's different kinds of problems. You cope with it.
And violence is not just physical violence. There's mental violence, there's psychological violence. So violence is hidden in lots and lots of different things.
I think also one way of dealing with it probably is just to have compassion.
Yeah.
That's the best way of dealing with people who trouble you, because they have their own reasons for being the people they are. They were not born like that. And so the more you start understanding that, the more you start questioning everything. And that makes you question a lot of things about yourself, which is a very interesting journey.
Yeah, and it's also about accepting it and talking about it.
Yeah.
When you go through something like this, if you suppress it and it becomes a secret, it'll damage you forever. So coming out and talking about it, for me the best part of growing up was knowing that everybody's life was equally fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, till then I thought I was going through the maximum trauma. My family was the most imperfect family. Everybody else had perfect families. So when I grew up and I said, oh my God, that's so beautiful. And I can talk about it. You know, so that is something we have to encourage. So some things which we have in our Indian tradition where, oh, घर की बात बाहर नहीं बोलना, घर में जो हो रहा है घर पे रखना. We have to stop that. We are all human beings, man. We're going through similar journeys. If we can share the pain and happiness, it'll become so much more wholesome for everyone.
Film has received rave reviews, you know, at several film festivals. What kind of response are you expecting from Indian audience, especially urban Indians?
Again, I don't know about urban and rural. I'm not expecting.
But do you
we
think they'll
don't
be able to
expect-
relate to the movie?
Well, it's their story. If they can't, and the world is saying that this story is their story, I don't know. I don't have an answer. I don't have expectations generally. I leave it out to the audience and let's see what happens. They'll love it, they'll hate it. It is bound to happen. People react very personally and differently to films.
So how did this film change your outlook towards life? Did it change your outlook at all?
Yeah, of course it did in a way. The part that I play actually was very interesting for me to go through the process of playing that part. I think, how do I say this? The way it said that all it took was a first act of courage. The character actually lives up to that very well, in the sense it really is about taking that first step. And actually, I used to love this poem by Rumi, which I used to check. Oh my God, it's one of my favorite poems, which says that this woman who's afraid of jumping in the river, and the guy says that, but there's a boat, but she says it's the other side of the river. How do I? So he says, just jump, don't think about it. And she jumps, and the boat comes to her.
Oh, lovely.
And it's so beautiful. It's that. You just take the step.
Take the first step.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for talking to us, and
Thank
I
you.
wish your film all the very best. And it was great meeting you.
Great meeting you.
Thank you.